Okay, so equations and functions. The solution of an equation with two variables consists of two numbers, one for each variable. That makes the equation true. When a relationship assigns exactly one output value for each input, it's called a function. So we'll get into these words and definitions later on. Right now, we're just going to do like the math part of it, okay? So you don't need to really understand what this is saying. Like I said, we'll get into that on another day. Today, what we're going to be talking about, we're going to look at an input-output function table. We're going to put them in ordered pairs, and then we're going to graph them, okay? So this part we've done before, and this will be kind of familiar to the function table. So if you're on the Kami, go ahead and scroll down to example number 1 that has the y equals 2x minus 2. So this is going to look familiar. It's in that format of y equals mx plus b. Okay. And the first thing we are going to do is we are going to look at this input-output table. That's what it's called, a function table. This is your input. This is your function. The function is this part of the equation. That's where we get the middle part, okay? And this is our output. So input and output. Okay. Now, for the input, you could put any number that you would like. However, we're going to have to graph this, so we want to keep the number small. So that's why the first number I'm going to choose is -2. So go ahead and put -2 for x. I'm just picking that number. I'm picking it specifically because it's going to work when we go to graph it. Okay, and we'll see what I mean in a second. Here is our function. So we're going to look at it. It has a 2 and an x, so this is going to be 2. And instead of x, what did we say x equals? -2. So instead of x, we're going to plug in -2 here, minus 2. So we're inputting our x value, -2. So 2 times -2 minus 2. Now, when we do that math, we have to remember PEMDAS. So are we going to multiply or add and subtract first? Which one goes first? Multiply. So what is 2 times -2? -4. -4 minus 2. -6. So our output is -6. Okay. So our input, when we plug in -2, we get -6. And we can write that as an ordered pair. When we plug in -2, we get -6. That's just going to be a point on the graph. Let's try another one. So again, I'm just choosing random numbers, but again, I know what the graph, how big the graph is, so I'm kind of choosing specific numbers. The next one's going to be -1. So we need to input -1 into our function. So 2 times -1 minus 2. What is 2 times -1? -2 minus 2? -4. Good. So our ordered pair would be when we plug in -1, we get out -4. Anybody have any ideas what the next number is going to be? 0. So 0. When I plug in 0 into this function, what is my output? See if you can figure out the next one. So you gotta do 2 times 0. What's 2 times 0? 0. 0 minus 2? -2. Good. Okay, my next number is going to be 1, and the next number is going to be 2. Go ahead and see if you can figure those out. I forgot to write the ordered pair there. See if you can figure out the next 2. Good, plot the points. Good, plot the points. Good. Go ahead and plot all the points. Go ahead and plot all the points. Need a calculator, use a calculator. This is 2 times 1. What's 2 times 1? 2 minus 2. What's 2 minus 2? 0. 2 times 2. What's 2 times 2? 4. 4 minus 2? 2. Once you have all those, it's time to plot our points. Whoops. It's time to plot our points. Okay. So I'm going to go to -2, and remember I got to do the x-axis first because this is my x, this is my y. So I go to -2 on my x and -6 on my y and plot a point. Okay. Next one, I'm going to go to -1 down to -4 and plot a point. 0, -2, plot a point. 1, 0, plot a point, and 2, 2, and plot a point. Once I have all my points plotted, I'm going to draw a line through them. Now we've learned other ways to graph this as well. You could check to see, because remember this is in y equals mx plus b form. So our original function was y equals 2x minus 2. Actually, it was -2, wasn't it? No, +2. So did we start at the -2 and we go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1? Yes. So, I mean, you could check it either way. Questions about this? No. Okay, we're going to jump around. We're going to go down to the second page before we do the fraction one. Going to the second page, we're going to go to number 2. We're going to go to number 2. And for all these problems, I would like you to use the same x values. Like I said, you could use any numbers you want. However, if we plug in 10 here, our graph's going to be too small for that. So I would like you to use these numbers for your x's. I would like you to use -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So for all the problems, just use those numbers. Again, if you wanted to, you could use 10, you could use 20, whatever number you would want, but it won't fit on the graph. So let's start. Our function here, the part that goes in the middle, is x minus 4. That is our function. So we need to plug in 2 where we see x. So this is going to be -2 minus 4. So what's -2 minus 4? -6. So that will be our output. Some people were getting this one mixed up last hour, so we just want to make sure we understand this. So next one, it's going to be -1 minus 4. Continue on, fill out the rest of that chart. We're on example number 2. And then go ahead and plot the points if you got it. Will you try it up at the first page again? The second one, that one.
What do you want from my x?
Same numbers. Do the next one. So now your x is 0, so where you see x, it's going to be 0 minus 4. Okay. Okay, go ahead and plot that. Okay, do the next one. Okay, go up to the first page and do the second example from that one. Using the same x's. So, probably use the same x's. Okay, so -1 minus 4 is going to give us -5. This will give us -4. 1 minus 4, I mean, you could use this over here. We start at 1 and we subtract 4, we're going to get at -3. And the last one will be at -2. Now you don't have it where you have the ordered pairs, but if you wanted to, you could just make them off to the side here if that helps you. If you don't want to make a whole list of it, then you can just plot the points if you know what you're doing. Okay, so -2, -6, -1, -5, 0 and -4, 1 and -3, 2 and -2. Oops. Have that all. Okay, perfect. And now we're going to go back up to the one that has the fractions. So that second example. Everybody see this example? Up at the top, it's on the first page, up at the top. Okay. Here is our function. Our values that we're going to use for x is going to be the same as they've been, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So this says -1/2 times our x, but what is our x here? -2, so -1/2 times -2. If you don't know how to do that in your head, when you use the calculator, you could put -0.5. So what's -0.5? You can type this into your calculator. -0.5 times 2. Or wait, times -2. My bad. What is -0.5 times -2? What was it? 1. Good. 1 plus 1. So then what's 1 plus 1? 2. Okay. So next one we got to do -1/2. Now we're plugging in the -1. Okay. So now into your calculator, you would do -0.5 times -1. Okay. This should give you a +1/2, or maybe it will say 0.5. But remember, then we have to add 1. So in your calculator, it should say probably 0.5. And then you're going to add 1 because that's what it tells us to do, add 1. So for this next one, you should get 1.5. Okay. And you're going to keep going. If you need to use the calculator to figure it out, use the calculator. If you're finished, I'll come around and check, and then I'll have you go on to some other ones. Yeah, but I would write the negatives out.
Wait, is that wrong? The last one?
So, what's half of 2? Okay, and a negative times a positive would be
Negative, so it'll be negative.
-1.
So that would be 0.
Yeah, just put your negative sign in front of the 1. It should be like -1.
Which one do you want me to move on to?
Did you graph it?
Uh,
And then just move on whatever one you want to. And use the same X as we're using. Okay, did you graph it? Go ahead and graph it then. You gotta go fix over here. What is half of them? It's a negative, right?
plus 1. So
It's just a half. -1/2. If you finish this one and you plot the points, feel free to go on to any others. If you want me to check it, I will check it. If you don't know how to do it, you need to be using a calculator. Negative half times 0 is 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. Negative 1/2 times 1 is negative 1/2 plus 1 is positive 0.5. Negative 1/2 times 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and plot them. You can write the ordered pairs. Okay, so we have negative 2 and 2. It'll be negative 1, 0, 1, 2. 1.5, 1.5, and 0. So for the graph for these halves, okay, so negative 2, we're going to go negative 2 to positive 2. So that'll be here. But in the next one, negative 1, we're going to go over to negative 1 and then just up to 1.5. 1 and 1/2. So that's in between the 1 and the 2. So somewhere like here. Okay. 0, 1 would be here. If I go over 1 and up 1/2, it's going to be in between the 0 and the 1. And then 2, 0. That's what your graph should look like. Bell's about to ring, so I need you guys to pack up your things. And you need to work on it and then turn it in. Okay, I gotta clean that.